First, I want to give all honor and glory to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'Shem Mashiach Umarak Yahushua. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world calls God, and Yahushua is the name of His only begotten Son, who the world only calls Jesus Christ. I want to give a strong shalom to all the mighty men that go out there and labor, that present their bodies as a living sacrifice, doing all they can to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel, enduring the elements, right? The freezing below codes and the 100-degree weathers and everything that's trying to hinder the work of the Most High. Shalom. I want to give another strong shalom to all the mighty Akwath, the sincere sisters that are at home, married, reverencing their husbands, and the unmarried sister as well, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High. And last but not least, I want to give another strong shalom to all the teenagers and children in this truth as well, doing all they can to magnify the name of the Most High and make their calling and election sure in the last days. Shalom, shalom. Right, and by the topic of this code cut is, right, what are you waiting on? Right, the topic of this code cut is, what are you waiting on? All right, what are you waiting on? It's 3 seconds left and you only get one shot. Right, it's 3 seconds left on the clock and you only get one shot. All right, and we going over this because it's very imperative to know the times that you're living in, seeing the prophecies, the different things that's going on earth, how the Most High is having wickedness increase, right? All type of spirits are increasing, people falling out of the truth, people coming into the truth, right? The different rumors and wars, and that's going on in the Middle East, and the tensions and the different political alliances. You have to measure the times diligently, man, pursuing the 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 1. But knowing the times that's approaching, you have to have you have to have your mind right. Your mind has to be right, man. We just gonna keep it 100, man. You have to have your mind has to be right. If your mind is not right approaching these days, you're not gonna make it, man. We just gonna say it. If your mentality is not where it needs to be, you're not gonna make it. A lot of people in the truth, they're gonna be in for a rude awakening. Brothers, sisters, children, whoever you are, all because they didn't have a right mentality. Now, I really should have titled this "Get Your Head in the Game," man. Right? It's 3 seconds left. You only get one shot. Get your head in the game. Because if you brothers have seen videos of basketball games, it's only been one shot left, or one shot left, and it's 5 seconds left. Now that man with the ball, and he's trying to score that bucket so his team could win, he's not in a state of mind to where he's giggling. He's in a state of mirth. He want to do what he want to do. No, his mindset, he's in the game, man. He's probably shaking, right? He getting chills, right? His heart beating real fast, right? He's focused on making this shot, man. Hey, that shot, that's the kingdom of heaven. You have to be focused on getting into the kingdom, man. Being saved. A lot of people, they're not going to be saved just because of their mentality. It's bad. Ultimately, that's going to determine your faith. Right? So let's kick it off with 2nd Ezra, the 9th chapter. Right? Get your head in the game. Right? Let's kick it off with 2nd Ezra chapter 9. Right? Let's kick it off with 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and I'm going to start at verse 4. 2nd Ezra chapter 9 and 4. It says, "Then thou shalt well understand that the Most High spake of those things from the days that were before thee, even from the beginning, because certain prophecies and things that the Lord has proclaimed from old is starting to happen. It's starting to take place on the earth." Right? Political alliances, they're coming together as we speak. Wickedness is increasing as we speak. You have so-called Halloween approaching. That's a satanic day, man. Right? You have rituals going on. You have higher up Edomite men casting spells on men, and the truth casting spells on the Israelites, right? All hell is breaking loose. But you're going to know that the Most High spake from these times from the beginning. Verse 5, this is the point. Verse number 5. For like as all that is made in the world hath a beginning and an end. Because majority of the stuff you see in this world, it has a beginning and an end. I mean, that's literally majority of stuff in life. Man has a beginning and an end. The beginning is when he's formed in his womb. The end is when he goes back to the grave. A flower has a beginning, meaning when it's that root, it's that seed. Then the seed go into the soil, it starts to bring forth plants. It starts to sprout. That latter end of that flower is it waxing old and decaying. Likewise with a tree. Likewise with fruit. All of these different things has beginnings and ends. So just like those things have beginnings and ends, the world also has a beginning and the world also has an end, man. Right? Stop thinking this world is going to continue for 50 more years, 100 more years, 200 more years. Right? You think America's still going to be here 200 more years? We have confidence. Now, we don't know, but we have confidence that America is not going to be here for another 200 years ruling on the earth with great oppression. So everything has a beginning and an end. It says what? It says, and the end is manifest. I'm going to read that again. And the end is manifest, man. Right? So you living in the end times. You living in the end days. And that's not a literal day, man. Just because we say you living in the end days, that don't mean we only got a few more days on this earth left. No, a day has a day has plethora of definitions to it. A day can mean a year. A day can mean years, right? It said the Israelites was in the wilderness for 40 days and 40 nights, right? Ultimately, and we know they wasn't in there for literal days. Because in another place, it says they was in there for 40 years, right? So those days could represent years. Now, knowing that you living in the end, what should be your mentality? You got a lot of people, they say, yes, we believe we're in the end, but their actions show totally different. They don't act like you were living in the end. If anything, they act like this place is going to continue by their actions, by their works, by their not reading, their slothfulness, right? They're not studying. When are you gonna like the video says, what are you waiting for? When are you gonna act like you're in the end, man? When are you gonna act like you're in the end of the world? Or are you gonna continue to act like you're in the time of Adam? A lot of people, they act like they're in the time of Adam, where it was paradise. You don't have to worry about anything. Everything's going smoothly. You do what you want to do. Even during the time of Adam, those people they didn't do what they wanted to do. Adam had to keep the commandments. Pursuing his second Esdras, the 3rd chapter, right? 1 all the way on down. So when are you going to act like you're in the end, man? Right, let's go to the book of Ezekiel. Let's go to the book of Ezekiel chapter 7. So again, the topic of this video is, what are you waiting on? Right? It's 3 seconds left, and you only get one shot. You only get one opportunity for the kingdom. You don't get several chances to get the kingdom. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel chapter 7. Right? This is the book of Ezekiel chapter 7 and verse number 2. Ezekiel 7:2. Also, thou son of man, thus saith the Lord God unto the land of Israel, an end is come upon the four corners of the land. Now is the end come upon thee, and I will send my anger upon thee, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense upon all thy abominations. So the Lord said during the time of Ezekiel, an end was come. Right? We here to tell you an end is coming in these last days. Again, you're not living in the beginning of that. You're not living during the Bronze Age. You got certain men thinking they living during the Iron Age. Well, you're not living during those times no more, brother. What have you been doing this whole? Have you been underneath a rock? Can't you just feel it? At certain people in the truth, they could just feel the end. They could feel it in the air, man. They know this place is going down. Hey, people in the world even say that, and they not even in the truth. So what? Right, so like yeah, right. So what end is come. All right, so like yeah, so what end is come, man. Let me jump down to verse. Let me jump down to verse 5. Ezekiel 7:5. Thus saith the Lord God, and evil and only evil, behold, it is come, and evil is come, the end is come. It watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. How many times do the Lord got to say the end is come for you to get it? For you to stop doing whatever you're doing that's not profitable to the work of the Most High, and to you to get your head in the game. How many times does the Lord have to say it for you to get your head in the game? You should be praying more than ever, man. You should be throwing up as many prayers as you can. You should be going on as many fasts as you can. You should be hitting up as many brothers as you should be studying as much as you can. And get your head in the game. Again, what are you doing? Is it your job? I mean, what is it? Is it the cares of this life? Is it your wife, brother? Right? Is it your children? Is it your husband, sister? Is it your old friend? I mean, is this what is it? What is it, man? Because hey, those men in a basketball game, when there's 3 seconds left, they not thinking about that. I don't know if you ever been to a intense basketball game or what. And the reason why I'm using the analogy of basketball, because basketball it has a lot in common to do with this truth, mentality wise. Those men in the game, they're not thinking of, if it's 3 seconds left, they're not thinking about what's going on in the crowd. Yeah, how good do my jersey look, right? And check out my sneakers. They're not walking up the court slowly. No, they're trying to get that victory. They trying to get a bucket. They trying to win the game. They trying to win the trophy. The trophy, man. They trying to get that last shot up. And they can only hope it goes in. Because if it don't go in, guess what? They lost, man. Their teammates gonna get on them. The coach is gonna say, "What the hell are you doing? What were you thinking? Why didn't you pass the ball? Why didn't you make the shot?" They're gonna get on you. Likewise, in this truth, knowing it's only 3 seconds, and 3 represents a number of completion in the Bible. Knowing, I'm not saying it's literal 3 seconds left, but 3 is a number of completion. It's a complete amount of seconds that's left. Time is ticking. I don't know, but to me, the days it's going by extremely fast, man. I mean, it felt like it was just a Sabbath day yesterday. The weeks are going fast. The hours, they're going constantly fast. Again, how many times do the Most High have to tell you the end is come for you to get your mind right? I'm gonna read that again. Ezekiel 7:5. Right? It's actually 7:6. It says, "An end is come. The end is come. It watcheth for thee." See, so hey, the end of the world is watching for you. That should scare you, man. What do you mean the end of the world is watching? It's watching for you to slip up. It's watching for you to get comfortable. It's watching for you to get out of that winner mentality, right? That strive for the kingdom mentality. That 3 seconds left on the clock mentality. It's waiting for you to slip up So the end could overtake you and you could be destroyed with everything here in America. So you could be destroyed with the ungodly, with the cares of this world, the shoes. You're going to be destroyed right with your shoes, man. Destroyed right with the clothing, the apparel, the things that's highly esteemed amongst men. So it's watching for thee. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 4. Right? Let me get this precept in 1 Peter, the 4th chapter. Go to the book of 1 Peter, the 4th chapter. It's the book of 1 Peter, chapter 4. Right? A lot of you men and women, you just being honest, you need a reality check. Right? You need a reality check. Right? This 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse number 7. 1 Peter chapter 4 and 7. It says, but the end of all things is at hand. I don't know how many times we could go over, many precepts. The end of all things is at hand, man. Many righteous men desire to see what you see, man. That's Matthew the 13th chapter. And did not see it. You think Abraham didn't want to live in it during the end of the world? Hey, Abraham would love to see this, man. You think the prophet Habakkuk didn't want to see this? Right? Noah, our Shem, our Faxad. No, these men, they would be on fire if they was able to see that. I mean, you living in a time where you could possibly see the second coming of Yahushua and get a first-hand close victory. If you make it, most High willing, if you make it, and get an in-depth vision and close-up of the Lord actually coming back to save you. I mean, that should set you on fire. That should light your spirit and get it that flame that it needs. That should excite you. A lot of people, they not excited though, man. A lot of people, that gets old to them. A hearing that the end of all things is at hand, that should automatically get your spirit revived. Because after that, it's it after this. It's no next generation. Well, maybe in the next generation, then I'll go hard. It's none of that. Right? And if you make that statement, you're a fool because there's no remembrance of former things. So let's say if you is regenerated, you won't even remember the statement that you made in your past life. That's a foolish statement. The end of all, it's 3 seconds left. Right? I'm going to read that again. It's 1 Peter chapter 4 and 7. But the end of all things is at hand. Be therefore sober and watch unto prayer. And you have to what? Be soberly minded. It's not talking about you sobering up from all the debacle that you had. Meaning being of a sound mind. Having your thoughts clear. You be able to function mentally. And watch into prayer, man. Constantly watching and constantly doing a lot of prayer. Now, seeing that it is 3 seconds left and you living in the end, and not only that, but you only get one shot. Again, how should your mentality be, man? I mean, you only get one opportunity. When you think about it, that's deep. You telling me you get one opportunity for the kingdom. Actually, before we go into that, I want to get that precept in Matthew the 13th chapter. Dealing with those righteous prophets and those righteous men. Right? This is the book of Matthew chapter 13 and verse number 16. Blessed are your eyes, for they see, and your ears, for they hear. For verily I say unto you, that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see. There's so many righteous men, they want to be in your shoes right now. You know how many prophets want to live in 2022 AD? Right? You know how many evangelists want to live in 22 AD? How many apostles, teachers? They want this thing, man. They can't, they desire it. They crave it. Hey, you have in the world you have a term called clutch. Right? You have certain men or men that's basketball players or play sports. Some of them are clutch, right? Now, some basketball players, they don't know they're clutch. And you have other players, they love when they're in clutch moments. For what it's saying is, you have men, they would love to be in that clutch moment. They would love to go as hard as they can before all hell breaks loose. They would love not to be slothful. They would love to extol the name of the Most High on high. They love being in those clutch moments. And you got certain other men they scared of the clutch moments. They scared of clutch time. When things get serious, when your heart start beating real fast, right? Start beating out of your chest. They don't like that. They get scared of that. It's butterflies in your stomach, right? You dribbling the ball up the court, but you fumbling it, right? You letting the crowd get to you. Then you have men like that. But the righteous men, the prophets, they would love to see the things that you see. They would love to see the blood moons, the wars and rumors of wars, the wickedness increasing, the love of many waxing cold, the manifold prophecies that's going off in the last days. It says, "For verily I say unto you that many prophets and righteous men have desired to see those things which ye see, and have not seen them, and to hear those things which ye hear, and have not heard them." And that's sad. Well, that's almost sad. Almost. You telling me Abraham, he wants to see what we see, but yet he can't, or Noah, right? Or Adam, or all of the righteous men, the prophets that's not even mentioned through the books, man. You have Gad the seer, you had Nathan the prophet. You telling me these men, they want to see, but they can't. What does that tell you? Everybody doesn't get the same opportunity that you get. You know how many people don't get the opportunity to strive for to get to the kingdom? I mean, that's an opportunity in itself for you to get the kingdom. Not everybody else, not your mom, not your family, not your daughter, your siblings. You're the only one that get this opportunity. Nobody else. And you know what a lot of men and women do with that opportunity? They let it go to waste. They throw it away. They don't use it. How do they don't use it? By their lack of diligence. The lack of their anger issues stopped it. The procrastination. The fear of men's faces. Their slothfulness. Their different manifold demons. When you have other men, they don't have that opportunity, yet they want that opportunity. Right? What do you think the Most High is going to do? The Lord is going to take that opportunity from you and give it to that person that wants it. Again, you gotta think, a lot of our forefathers, they died in faith, man, having not seen the promises. Let's get that in Hebrews, the 12th chapter. Abraham, he died in faith. Abraham didn't get the kingdom. Last time we know he's going to, but he didn't get the kingdom right then. Right? Enoch didn't get the kingdom. Elijah, right? Elisha, Paul. Paul said, "I have not obtained." They all what? They died in faith. They died in belief in the Most High. Let's go to Hebrews, the 12th chapter. Those men, they have to wait patiently. Right? Actually, I want Hebrews chapter 11. Right? Let me get this in Hebrews, the 11th chapter. This Hebrews chapter 11 and verse, I'm going to start at 12. "Therefore sprang there even of one and him as good as dead, so as many as the stars of the sky in the multitude, and as the sand which is by the seashore, innumerable. Verse 13, this is the point. These all died in faith. They died, man. They not here. They're in the grave. They're died. Now we know they're going to be resurrected, obviously pursuant to the prophecies, 2nd Ezra 1 to 39. But these men, they died in faith, not having received the promises, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of men, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. See that? See that? So a lot of these men in the Bible, you read the scriptures, they died in faith, right? They died seeing the promises afar off, seeing the kingdom of heaven, seeing the glory, the dominion, the salvation of the Lord. But they didn't obtain unto it yet, because it hasn't came yet. It shows you how strong mentally our forefathers was. Ultimately, it shows you their mindset and what they did with that opportunity that the Lord gave them. And not sitting around. They took advantage of this opportunity, man. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity. You don't get a lot of chances to serve the Most High, man. Especially in a world that's full of iniquity and sin. You only get one time to serve the Lord. What are you going to make out of it? You need to ask yourself that question in the mirror. What are you going to make out of this opportunity that the Most High gave you? Are you going to sit around? Are you going to sit on the opportunity, let it go by? Or are you going to take it and actually do something with it? The choice, it's up to you. That should be your mentality. Not focusing on unprofitable things. Reading on, it says, verse 14, for they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned. I'm going to read that again. Verse 14. For they that say such things declare plainly that they seek a country. Right? Because again, our forefathers, they embraced them. Not only that, there was pilgrims and strangers on the earth. It just said that in verse 13. Verse 15. And truly, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, meaning if they was mindful of the country that they came out of, again, you had Abraham. He came out of Ur of the Chaldees. The Most High told him to go into a strange country where you have never seen. What did Abraham do? Through his belief and faith in the Lord, he picked up and moved. Right? That's Genesis, the 12th chapter, verse 1. It says, if they had been mindful of that country from whence they came out, they might have had opportunity to have returned. But now they desire a better country. A lot of men, if you have an opportunity for the kingdom, but a lot of men, if you had that opportunity to go back and not hear the truth, you would. How do we know that? By your actions. Your actions is going to say it all. We're not believing man's words. We're not believing woman's words. We believe in thus saith the Lord, and we believe in your actions. A man is going to make known what he believes by his actions, man. That's Sirach 32 and 24. He that believeth on the Lord taketh heed to the commandment. Your actions has to show differently. So if you have a lot of men, if they had the opportunity to return, they'll go back, man. They'll change everything, try to change the past so they cannot be in his life. So they cannot live the life of a man or a woman of the Lord. It says, this is what our forefathers did. Verse 16. But now they desire a better country, that is, an heavenly. Wherefore God is not ashamed to be called their God, for he hath prepared for them a city. And the Lord is not ashamed to say, this is my child, this is my son. Hey, Abraham was called the friend of the Most High. You think the Most High was ashamed to that? You think the Most High said, hold on, no, that's not my friend. I don't know him. No, the Lord will be proud to say, Abraham, yeah, I'm his God. But you know what the Most High is to a lot of men and women in the truth? The Lord is ashamed for you to be his son, man. By the way that you act, by the way your mentality is, by the way your actions show forth. Hey, that's embarrassing, man. What if the Lord came to you and said, I'm ashamed to call you my son? Because you're slothful. Hey, that'll cut somebody, that'll cut, I shed tears, man. That'll cut me to pieces. The Lord came down, hey, you're not my son, man. I don't even want to be called, don't even call me your God. I mean, look at the way you acted. This is embarrassing on my behalf. Hey, that'll make you shed tears, man. That'll make you feel, dang, what have I been doing? That's the whole topic of this video is, what are you waiting on? What are you doing? Jake always like to say, well, I ain't even do nothing. Well, that's the point, brother. You ain't do nothing. So again, living in these 3 seconds left on the clock and knowing you have one opportunity, you need to take full advantage of that opportunity. I mean, you only getting one. You think you're getting 5 opportunities, right? You down, God forbid, but the Most High, you know what I'm saying, he might have to put you back to the grave. Then you be resurrected. Then you be regenerated back on the earth. Then you get the truth. And then you get another shot at the kingdom. Right after you messed up. Right? How in the world they got little practice tests. You just slip up, right? And you just it's forever. And it's not ending. You get to slip up as many times as you want. You still gonna get that same shot. No, man. The Lord not getting down like that. You know how many people, only got one opportunity. Right? Have you not read what the scripture said? Let's go to Luke chapter 19. Well, actually, let's go to Genesis chapter 19. Right? I wanna get this account. Hey, everybody gets one opportunity. You get one chance. You get one time to make full. You get one time to let the Most High to know what you're about. Right? It is no respect of persons. Everybody gets one time to serve the Lord. Right? Let's go to you think Yahweh Shah had more than one opportunity to get on that cross? Right? What if the Lord would have slipped up? What if he would have gave up and not died for the sins of the Israel? Then the Most High rewind back time. Then he say, okay, you messed up that time. All right, see if you can endure that again. No, Yahweh Shah had one opportunity. It's either be perfect, get on that cross, do what you got to do and complete the mission, or do not complete the mission at all and disappoint the Most High. Yahweh Shah didn't get no practice test, man. He didn't get no forerunners or no pre-test. It was one time. You come on the earth, you preach repentance, you heal the sick, you preach the gospel, you be on fire, and you die for the sins of Israel, and you endure all the temptation. That was it. Last time I checked, Yahushua didn't get 3 retries. He didn't get no restarts. Right, Jake playing video games. He damn talking about let me get a rematch. Right? Hey, the Lord didn't get no rematches, man. The Lord he made best of that opportunity. Now, what are you gonna do? Right, let's go to Luke chapter 19. Well, actually go to Genesis 19. Let's go to the book of Genesis chapter 19. Verse number 24. Genesis 19 and 24. It says, then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. Because the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. And the Most High gave strict commandments to Lot to give to his family to don't look back and escape forward. That's what the Most High literally said that. Let's get that. This Genesis 19 and 17. And it came to pass when they had brought them forth abroad that he said, escape for thy life. Look not behind thee, neither stay thou in the plain at all, except to the mountains, lest thou be consumed. The Lord gave strict commandments. He said, escape for your life, do not look back, get to the mountains. That's it. The Most High didn't ask them to walk 2,000 miles over around Zoar and then come back to Sodom, then walk 5,000 miles, then to go there. The Lord didn't ask that much. He said, escape for thy life, don't look back. You get one time. That the Most High didn't repeat himself. Jumping down to verse 24. Then the Lord rained upon Sodom and Gomorrah brimstone and fire from the Lord out of heaven. Right? It reads, and he overthrew those cities and all the plain and all the inhabitants of the cities, Salakia, and that which grew upon the ground. But his wife looked back from behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. So guess what, man? Last time I checked, Lot's wife, she didn't get no retry. She had one time. She had one time to follow directions. She had one time for the opportunity. She could have had an opportunity to live. She could have had an opportunity. I mean, just think about it. You could have had an opportunity to escape the destruction of Sodom and Gomorrah. Imagine that. You could have. You didn't because your head wasn't in the game. She didn't. You think she was thinking that it was 3 seconds left? That it was go time? I mean, she couldn't have because she looked back. Her mind was somewhere else. That's a lot of women in this truth, man. Your mind is not, your head is not in the game. You don't really think it's 3 seconds left. Not only that, you don't believe that ultimately you don't believe that you get one time to serve the Lord. Because your actions is totally different. We know Lot's wife didn't believe that. Her actions showed it. Cause she missed, she had the opportunity, she didn't take it. Again, Lot's wife is no account of her. Okay, the Lord reversing back time. All right, you look back this time. Don't do that next time. Then she got it right. Then she got it wrong the second time. Then he rewind time again. Say, this is your last time. Then he rewinded again. And then she got it right on the third time. The Most High didn't do that, man. You only get one time to serve the Lord. So you need to learn from Lot's wife. You need to weigh everything in a balance and say, where's my mind at? Why is my mind not on the things to come? Why is my mind stuck on my job? Or stuck on your friends, man? And you just got a spirit on you. A slothful spirit. You just on your phone all day. And you really gonna be like Lot's wife, man. You just on your phone all day. Yeah, I'm really looking at the prophecies, but I don't see any. Well, sister, no, you're not looking at the prophecies. You're looking at what Jerome's doing on Instagram. So guess what? Lot's wife, she only got one time. She only got one opportunity. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. Go to the book of 1 Samuel. Right. Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. I want chapter 15. Right. Let me get this in the book of 1 Samuel, 15th chapter. See when I want to start at. Actually, I want 1 Samuel 13, right? I want 1 Samuel chapter 13 and verse. I'm gonna start at verse where I want. Let's see, this is a good chapter. I want 1 Samuel chapter 13 and verse number 8. 1 Samuel 13 and 8. Dealing with King Saul. And he tarried 7 days, according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. Right? So when you read this, Samuel specifically told Saul, wait for me for I come. And when I come, obviously you need a Levitical priest to offer up an offering. But Saul doing not having his head in the game. Let's see what King Saul did instead. Did he take that opportunity and make the best of it, or did he put it to waste? What was the point of the Most High making King Saul? Well, we know this is really rhetorical, right? We know why the Most High set up King Saul, right? But if this is a rhetorical question, what's the point of the Lord giving King Saul that opportunity to be king? King, not a lot of people get an opportunity to be king, especially you come from the tribe of Benjamin, right? That's a huge opportunity. Guess what King Saul did? He didn't make the best of it. You're going to find that out as we read on. It says, verse 8, and he tarried 7 days according to the set time that Samuel had appointed. But Samuel came not to Gilgal, and the people were scattered from him. Right? It says, verse 9, and Saul said, bring hither a burnt offering to me and peace offerings. And he offered the burnt offering. But hold on, when you read before this, Samuel specifically told him to wait. Ultimately, that was the Most High through the hand of Samuel. He told him to wait, man, not to do your own thing. Guess what Saul did? From his lack of patience, right? His lack of temperance, and ultimately this all goes back to his mind not being right. His head wasn't in the game. He wasn't in that clutch-like mentality. He wasn't in that mentality that you only get one time to serve the Most High. So guess what he did? He took it upon himself to ruin the opportunity that the Lord gave him to be king and to offer up the burnt offering. It says what? And he offered the burnt offering. And it came to pass that as soon as he had made an end of offering the burnt offering, behold, Samuel came, and Saul went out to meet him, that he might salute him. And Samuel said, what hast thou done? And Saul said, because I saw, right, Salakia. And it says, and Samuel said, what hast thou done? Right? And Saul said, because I saw that the people were scattered from me, and that thou camest not within the days appointed, and that the Philistines gathered themselves together at Mishmash. Therefore said I, the Philistines will come down now upon me to Gilgal, and I have not made supplication unto the Lord. I forced myself therefore, and offered a burnt offering. See that? So this man forced himself. He didn't follow no instructions, right? He did his own thing. Guess what Samuel said to Saul? Verse 13. And Samuel said to Saul, thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God, which he commanded thee. For now would the Lord have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever. Saul had the opportunity to have his kingdom established forever. That's deep when you think about it. That means if Saul's kingdom was established forever, David wouldn't even be set up. It would be Saul's sons and his descendants. Right? Who else? Hezekiah wouldn't even be set up. A lot of things wouldn't even be the same if Saul would have listened. Now we know the Most High set it up through the Spirit. All praises to the Most High for that. Nevertheless, you gotta put yourself in these accounts, man. A Samuel told Saul, you have the opportunity to have your kingdom established forever. Read on. 14. But now thy kingdom shall not continue. The Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart, and the Lord hath commanded him to be captain over his people, because thou hast not kept not kept that which the Lord commanded thee. See that? Saul didn't use that opportunity wisely. You think Saul got several chances after this? No, after this, Saul kept waxing worse and worse and worse. All because one opportunity, he didn't have that in-game mentality. Now, if he was like, no, we got to keep the commandments of the Most High, we got to do this, I'm going to stay faithful to the Lord. We wouldn't even, time history would have changed, man. His kingdom would have been established forever. You see how you and your lack of diligence to the truth, your demons, the slothfulness, whatever you deal with could affect the opportunity that the Most High gave you. You see how that could, ultimately Saul died. The Lord killed Saul in battle. You see that how that can affect you? This thing gets deep, man. Right? Let's go to the book of First Maccabees. Right? Let's get this precept in the book of First Maccabees. Chapter 5. This all lets you know everybody's mentality. Let's go to First Maccabees chapter 5. This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 5. Let's see where I want. And verse number 55. First Maccabees chapter 5 and 55. Now what time as Judas and Jonathan were in the land of Galaad, and Simon his brother in Galilee, before Ptolemaeus, Joseph the son of Zacharias and Azarias, captain of garrisons. These men were captains of the garrisons. The garrisons, for lack of better terms, it's what you would set up in the territory after you take down. You would set up garrisons. David, he set up garrisons. So these men were captains of the garrisons. It's like a modern day castle, but for war. These men, they was captains of the garrisons. Again, a captain, that's not a small position, man. For when the Lord gave them an opportunity to be a captain. Not only that, you were over garrisons. That's beautiful. It says what? They heard of the valiant acts and warlike deeds which they had done. Meaning these men, they heard how many men Judas Maccabees slayed in battle. They heard of the different men he took down. How he went out in his battles. As even historically, they say the last battle of Judas Maccabees, well, that's towards his career. I'm not going to say that. But Judas Maccabees, he was going out and he was outnumbered against the enemies and still slaying them, man. Right? It says, wherefore they said, let us also get a name and go fight against the heathen so that are round about us. You see what these men did with the opportunity they had? They had the opportunity. They was already the captains of the garrisons. If they would have stayed faithful, true to Judas Maccabees, never broke rank, followed the Lord, would have been humble, and let the Lord exalt them instead of man exalting them. These men, they could have been up there, man. You would have heard about Joseph the son of Zacharias and Azarias and Judas Maccabees and Simon and Jonathan. But what? These men, they're set up for an example. why their mind wasn't right. That's like your teammate. It's 3 seconds left. You've been dominating the whole game. You might have 40 points, right? It's 3 seconds left. The coach says to give you the ball, but your teammate run up. He poked the damn ball out your hand. Then he decides to get himself a name so everybody could look at him as the man. He shoots the shot, then he loses the game. And you know what they're gonna do to him in the locker room? He might not come out alive in that locker room. Just being honest. He might come out the locker room with a black eye and a broken foot and a broken rib. These men, instead of following Judas Maccabees, doing what they tell him to do, actually using the opportunity that the Most High gave them to be a captain over the garrisons, these men decided to go get a name. That's what a lot of you men do, man. Instead of seeking the kingdom, pursuing the kingdom, fasting, praying, trying to be with the Most High closer and closer and closer, you men go try to go seek a name, right? Let me be known amongst this brother. I want this brother to talk mightily about me. Yeah, you said I brought it out? Yeah, all praises. I wanted to hear that, brother. But what are you doing? Right? You got certain sisters, they want to get a name amongst other sisters. You just want to get a name. You want to be known. How is you being known using the opportunity that the Lord gave you to serve him? So again, it's another example of men taking the opportunity for granted and casting it behind their back. Instead of their mindset being, and we got to win these battles. Instead of them seeing they was at war. They could have worked together with Judas Maccabees and ultimately won these battles and overcame the Greeks and the different successors of the Greeks and took them back and served the Lord. These men decided to go get a name. That just tell you their head wasn't in the game. It says what? Wherefore they said, let us get a name and go fight against the heathen that are round about us. So when they had given charge unto the garrison that was with them, they went towards, I believe that's Germania. Then came Georgius and his men out of the city to fight against them. And it was so that Joseph and Azarias were put to flight and pursued into the borders of Judah. And when they were slain that day, of the people of Israel, about 2,000 men. See that? Verse 6. So not only did these men die, they got other men killed through their presumptuous decision. It says, verse 61, thus there was a great overthrow among the children of Israel, because they were not obedient to Judas. These men didn't listen. Again, the Lord is giving you direct commandments. He's saying, don't be slothful. Overcome your temptations. Be on fire. Strengthen your brother. Give charity. Give alms. Pray as much as you can. Fast. You're not doing this for man. You're doing this for the Lord. Fast to the Lord as much as you can. You should be grateful, man. But guess what? They not men, sir. You men, and when you're not obedient, you just sit there and hope the Most High to pull you up. So these men were not obedient unto Judas and his brethren, but thought to do some valiant act. See that? That's what not to be like, man. Right? Let's go to the book of Judges. Go to the book of Judges. All of these men had one time, bro. They had one opportunity. They had one chance. Let's go to Judges. Let's go to the book of Judges. And I want chapter 16. Judges chapter 16. It's the book of Judges, chapter 16. Judges, chapter 16, and verse. I'm going to start at Judges 15. This Judges 15 and 20. It's the book of Judges, chapter 15 and 20. And he judged Israel in the days of the Philistines 20 years. So Samson, he was given an opportunity to judge the nation of Israel. You know how mighty that is? Not only are you physically strong because you're a Nazarite, but you had an opportunity to be a king and to judge the nation of Israel and stop having them go into idolatry and actually return them back to the Heavenly Father. Samson could have prolonged his judge's days. He could have probably judged 25 years. We don't know. But he was set up as a judge 20 years over the nation of Israel. Jumping down to verse 16. Verse 4. Right? Judges 16 and 4. It says, Judges 16 and 4, and it came to pass afterward that he loved a woman in the valley of Sorek, whose name was Delilah. And the lords of the Philistines came up unto her and said, entice him, and see wherein his great strength lieth, and by what means we may prevail against him, that we may bind him to afflict him, and we will give thee, every one of us, 1,100 pieces of silver. Now, that's a lot of things you can learn from Samson. You can learn not to give your strength to women. You can learn to follow the Most High, not to deal with the women of the other nations. Another thing you could learn from the story of Samson is to do not disannul the opportunity that the Most High gave you. To be obedient to him. Not only that, to have your head in the game. Right? Again, it's 3 seconds left, man. If Samson had that it's 3 seconds left mentality, do you believe he would have messed with Delilah? Right? And you read the previous chapters, his parents got on him and said, why are you dealing with these women of the other nations? Why don't you get you a woman of your own nation? Samson, his mind was bad, man. And that's a lot of brothers. Now it's 3 seconds left and your mind is focused on that woman. You still trying to bring that woman into the truth that you knew before the truth, but she not coming in, but you still trying to bring her in. But just leave it alone. You women, you focus on that man. He's in wickedness. He don't believe in the truth, but you still trying to bring him in. You still thinking about that woman, Jake. How you thinking about that one good woman that you had in the world and how you messed it up and how you just meditating on how she could have came into the truth. Brother, she's not in the truth for a reason. Right? So Samson, his mind was bad. And you, like I said, you have men like that now. It's 3 seconds left. They mind focus on women. One man, his mind focused on getting a valiant act. Another sister mind over here, her mind focused on looking back into the world. Another man right here, his mind focused on women. You see these men and their different mentalities. Jumping down to verse number 17, Judges 16 and 17, that he told her all his heart and said unto her, there have not come a razor upon my head, for I have been a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If I be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak and be like any other man. So guess what? Through his lack of not being on fire, his head not being in the game, he told Delilah his whole heart. Ultimately, that led to his destruction. Jumping down to verse 20. It reads, verse 20, and she said, the Philistines be upon thee, Samson. And he awoke out of his sleep and said, I will go out as other times before and shake myself. And he was not that the Lord was departed from him. So you see what happens when you don't take advantage of the opportunities, right? If your mind not in the game, if your head is not in the game, the Lord will depart from you, man, and go be with something, go sup with somebody else. A lot of people, they not gonna realize the importance of that until it actually happens to them. By that time, it's already too late. The spirit done left you. You don't want to be that man or that woman that waits till it's too late to appreciate what you have. You're gonna be in for a rude awakening. Judges 16, jumping down to verse 30. And Samson said, let me die with the Philistines. And he bowed himself with all his might. And the house fell upon the Lord and all the people that were therein. So the dead which he slew at his death were more than they which he slew in his life. And Samson killed 1,000 men with a jawbone of an ass. Right? It says, then his brethren, all his house of his father, came down and took him and brought him up and buried him between Zoar and Eshtaol in a burying place of Manoah, his father, and he judged Israel 20 years. And guess what? The latter end of Samson, he ended up dying, man. Right? All because his head, he wasn't in that clutch-like mentality. Right? He didn't understand what was going on. Let's go to Acts chapter 20. Right? Let's go to Acts chapter 20. This is the book of Acts chapter 20. And verse number, right, Acts chapter 20 and verse number 2. Acts 20 and 2. And we had gone over those parts and had given them much exhortation. He came into Greece, talking about Paul. He was exhorting the people. Verse 3, and there abode 3 months. And when the Jews laid wait for him, as he was about to sail in Syria, he purposed to return through Macedonia, and there accompanied him into Asia, south of Berea, of the Thessalonians, Artychius, and Secundus, and Gaius of Derbe, and Timotheus, and of Asia, Tychius, and of Trophonius. These going before tarried for us at Trios. And when we sailed from Philippi after the days of unleavened bread, and came unto them in Troas, and 5 days, where we abode 7 days. And until the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them, ready to depart on the morrow, and continue his speech unto midnight. So Paul is literally, he's magnifying the name of the Most High. He's making full proof of his ministry. He's traveling here, then he's doing the work over here, then he's doing the work over here. He's giving the knowledge, the wisdom, the understanding. It says, read it on, verse 8, and there were many lights in the upper chamber where they were gathered together. And it was at nighttime. Keep that in mind, verse 9. And there sat in a window a certain young man named Eutychus, being fallen into a deep sleep. And as Paul was long preaching. So here you have Paul. He's preaching to these men. And we led to believe Paul, when he spoke, you heard him speak, man. That's how deep his voice was. That's how precise his vocabulary was. That's how bold he was through the Spirit. You're going to hear when this man, hey, when you hear Paul, you're going to hear Paul. You're going to stop what you're doing. You're going to listen to his words. That's how of a powerful speaker Paul was. Lo and behold, this man has an opportunity to hear the words of life through the hands of Paul. This man fell into a deep sleep. That's a lot of men, man. Again, the Lord gave you an opportunity to go hard as you can in the end days, seeing all of the blood moons, the different signs and wonders that the Lord has set up, yet you fallen into a deep sleep. It's men sleep right now. It's brothers in the truth, they sleep right now. Right? They came straight home from work. They went straight to sleep. They haven't prayed in 2 days. Right? They only probably pray for the hour of prayer, and that's it. Does no studying. They want straight. They sleep. They're asleep right now. I guarantee you there's a man right now in the world. He's in the truth. Slothful. The Lord called him into this truth and gave him an opportunity. Right now, while we doing this live, he's sleeping. He's in a deep sleep. His flesh took over him. So this man, Paul, was preaching. This man decided to go to sleep. So again, you living in the end of the world, 3 seconds left with one opportunity. Certain men are asleep. They're into a deep sleep. Certain men, they thinking about women like Samson. You got certain sisters, they looking back like Lot's wife. Other men, they trying to get a name for themselves. Everybody's mind is bad, man. Yet one man, we have not seen a man from what we read have his mindset as him getting his head in the game. Hey, man, I got to push this work, man. I got to throw up this extra prayer. I got to go on this extra 2-day fast, this 3-day fast. I got to magnify the name of the Most High. It's not a lot of time left. It's a lot of work to be done, but in a few amount of time. These men didn't have that mindset. That led to their downfall. It says, reading on, and as Paul was long preaching, he sunk down with sleep and fell down from the third loft and was taken up dead. See that? Most High, through the Spirit of the Lord, this man was brought back to life. But it says, and fell down from the third loft. This man fell all the way down and he was taken up dead. And on another fold, that falling down represents you sinking back and slowly waxing worse and worse and worse until you become dead spiritually. All because your head wasn't in the game. You didn't have that clutch-like mentality. You thought you had more than one opportunity to serve God. Let's go to the book of Colossians, chapter 3. Right? Let's go to the book of Colossians, the 3rd chapter. Colossians chapter 3 and verse number 23. Right? Let's go to the book of Colossians chapter 3 and verse number 23. It says, and whatsoever ye do, meaning anything that you do in this truth, man, whether it's laboring, whether it's reading, whether it's checking up on sisters, it's checking up on brothers, it's giving charity, it's giving alms, right? It's studying, it's magnifying the name of the Most High. Whatever you do it heartily. What does it mean by do it heartily? You got to put your soul into this, man. You actually commanded in the law to serve the Lord thy God with all thy soul, with all thy heart, and with all thy mind. That's a commandment. See, you passionate for everything else. You passionate for that TV show. You seen that dude get killed in that movie. You crying at the movie. Like, man, dang, why did they do that to him? You doing that for a TV show, but you can't do that for the Most High. You can't put your all into this truth. You can't put your whole heart into this truth. You would do that for a woman. So you would do that for a man, but you can't do that for the Lord. That says a lot about your character, man. Whatever you do, you got to do it like it's your last time. Like, you got to do it like you only get one chance. Like you only get one shot. You have to do it heartily, as unto the Lord and not unto man, knowing that of the Lord ye shall receive the reward of the inheritance, for ye serve the Lord. See that? You're going to get that reward. That's the whole reason why you had that mentality, because you want to win that you want to get that victory. You want to win that game. Verse 25. But he that doeth wrong shall receive for the wrong which he have done. A lot of times we bring this out on a so-called white man, right? We bring out Colossians chapter 3 and 25. Well, actually, in this context, that's not talking about Esau reaping his benefits of what he had done on the earth. In context, whatever you doing wrong, if you don't do things heartily, if you don't do things with all thy might, if you're doing things unjustly, if you're not having your head in the game, if you're not acting like it's clutch time through the spirit, if you're doing wrongly, not keeping the commandments, being slothful, you're going to receive for all of those things you did not do. You're going to have to pay for that. It's one thing just not doing it, but you're going to have to pay for that. How are you going to pay for that? Through death, through the lake of fire, via ICBM missiles. It says, and there is no respect of persons. The Lord don't care who you is. It's no respect of persons. Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, the 9th chapter. Right? Let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9. It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 9, and verse number 10. The classic. Ecclesiastes 9 and 10. Whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. Linking it up with Colossians, the 3rd chapter. Whatever you do in this truth, you do for the Lord, you have to do it with thy might. You can't have a do it, man. You think the Most High is going to accept have a work? I mean, be honest. Do you like have a work? No man is going to come out and say, yes, I like when people do have a work towards me. You a CEO of a company and you cool with people doing have a work to you. You a camp leader and you like when your men do have a work for the Most High. No man is going to like that. So how much more for the Lord? You don't like half a work. How much you think the Most High like half a work? The Lord don't like half-ass work, man. We just gonna say it. Right, Salakia for my language. But the Most High don't like half a work, man. That's why it says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, nor device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. Because you know what? In the grave, you can't serve the Lord, man. That's it. You're in the grave. You're dead now, man. When you're 6 feet deep under, you can't say, call Lord Yahweh Bashim El Shai, the water for waking me up this morning. You can't say that. You're dead. You can't say, let me get this. Let me finish out the book of the prophet Jeremiah. You're dead. You missed out on your opportunity. The Most High killed you due to your rebelliousness and your slothfulness. And you not doing things heartily. And you not taking advantage of the opportunity that the Most High gave you. You can't say, let me go check on the brother Will. Right? Let me go check on Zechariah ben Yehoiada. See how that brother's doing. You can't keep the feast days. You're dead. You're in the grave. Why wait till you're dead to do something? It's too then. Why not do it right now? Why not do it like it's your last, like tomorrow is not promised? That's the mentality you should have. Let me serve the Lord like it's no tomorrow. You know how on fire you would be? How more zealous you would be? It says, I'm going to jump down to verse 12. For man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in the evil net, as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in the evil time, when it suddenly falleth upon them. See that? So man you don't know when you're going to get taken out the earth. Why not do it heartily now? Well, let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 43 and 30. Right? Let's go to the book of Sirach, chapter 43 and verse number 30. Right? This is one of my favorites. This Sirach, chapter 43 and 30. When ye glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as ye can. That's a commandment. Now you might say, where is that written in the law? Where is that written in the Torah? Brother, this is literally wisdom. This comes from the Lord. This don't have to be in the first 5 books for it to be a commandment. Whatsoever, it says, when you glorify the Lord, exalt him as much as ye can. For even yet will he far exceed. Because even when you put forth all your strength, you glorify him, the Lord will far exceed that. And the Lord is all. When you read Sirach, chapter 43, and verse 27, the Lord is all, man. So it's, even though you try to go as hard as you can, the Lord's greatness and his majesty is going to supersede that. That's deep when you think about it. Because you could be thinking you going hard whole time, the Lord not even satisfied with that. You could go a little bit harder. It says, and when ye exalt him, put forth all your strength, and be not weary, for ye can never go far enough. Meaning you can never magnify the name of the Most High enough. Don't wait till you die, man. Don't wait. What are you waiting on? You waiting till the chariots come? Right? You waiting till ICBM missiles drop in your neighborhood? By that time, you already dead, brother. You waiting on Yahweh Shah. What are you waiting? You waiting on Yahweh Shah to crack the sky so you can see the thousands of angels? Then you want to be on fire? You waiting till Jacob's trouble kick off when stuff hit the fan? Why not do it now? You waiting to read in the second wilderness? Right? Brother, it's too late then. What are you waiting for, the kingdom? Brother, you might not make it. I might not make it, man. So guess what? Me knowing I might not make it, that's as much work I got to put in, Most High willing to make it. Right? So with that, we giving all honor and glory to the Most High Yahweh. Lord willing, this video is edifying. Continue to read, pray, fast, and study. And most importantly, beseech the Heavenly Father for his mercy. And with that, I'm going to say shalom.